People are dying for nothing because Nigerians know the solution. Let's move to Benue State, still in the North Central. In Benue State, even a reverend father's prayer could not help him anymore because faith without work is dead being alone. His people are being massacred. And these places are the food basket of Nigeria. For you to know why we are becoming a basket case. When a government cannot protect the food areas of Nigeria, hunger and poverty ensue. And they are pretending they are working. Working what? In Benue, they keep people to the point that the Reverend Father came out and said the federal government should up their game. That is an euphemism of failure.
See, take your time, listen to this video. This is a trending video of Kenneth Okonkwo. Unapologetic interview. You don't want to miss it. Take your time, listen. Where he also, what he said about Oshomole and this failed government. How he explained about the failed government, the problem, the crisis going on in the country. What is going on in the country. How he's assessed these 2 years of Tinubu's government. Where Tinubu has failed. What and what. Take your time, listen to this video. Let me not take your time because the video is a little bit long here. But please, if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, take your time, subscribe. Now I'll be your guy, run for me. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And hit the notification button. Let's go there.
Well, 2 years is the benefit of doubt that the voters in an election give to an incumbent. After 2 years, it becomes a legitimate situation to campaign for the next election and to determine whether that government has succeeded or failed. Recall in America, every 2 years they have election so that they have a choice of changing the direction of the country if the incumbent is not doing well, or substantiating his position if he is doing well. Trump just came in. That's why you have midterm election. Because they know that the legislature is the seat of power in a democracy. Because they have the pulse and they approve of all the appointments from the executive. So 2 years is what the incumbent has. After 2 years, they don't have any other
good way to
any other hiding place.
Good way to open. So I just wanted to set that that frame just for the beginning, theoretically. So how will you then assess the first 2 years? I mean, I think probably in a few more days it will be exactly 2 years. What would be your general assessment before we go into the details?
Very good. I will restrain myself from using my words and my opinion so that people do not say that I am already in a camp against the incumbent. I am going to use the words of APC members, of Southwest people, of Muslims. These are his own people and constituency. Not long ago, the Islamic clerics from the north came out to disassociate themselves from same-faith ticket as a result of the performance of this government. These were the people that were willing to go on jihad when this man chose a fellow Muslim to be his vice president. And they said they would go on jihad if they don't put them in. Today, they have repudiated that ticket because of the terrible performance of this government in power. The people from Southwest, particularly from Omeko, the city where Bola Tinubu claims to be his own town, they were the first that shot the first salvo. Ebim power. We are hungry. And this has been corroborated by the World Bank. And the World Bank was even merciless in their submission by saying that throughout the tenure of Tinubu, we will be hungry and we will continue to be more hungry. They say 3.6% of the people will continue to enter into deeper poverty. And by 2027, more than 56% of the population will be in abject poverty. Now, the APC people want Onopasa to be precise. He said he does not know where this man's administrative style came from. That he has no business in Aso Rock and that they will ensure he does not smell there and does not have second term. He's a one-term president. Summing up these are people that were willing to die for this government when this government came in. They have weighed this government on a scale and they have found this government wanting. They have cancelled this government, and I agree with them in their submission that this government is only a one-term government because Nigeria is perishing. Okay, this is even factual things, strange things that I cannot even explain. It's happening in this government. You have seen where they say, this is strange things. I can't explain. 18-year-old boy pregnanting 10 girls within 5 months.
Is that the problem?
That's what I'm saying. Strange things. In the next 9 months, the guy will be a father of 10 children. Strange. Okay. Look at another strange thing.
Okay.
In the jam, you could see how technical glitch consumed 379,000 results, leading to the suicide of one lady. But here is the difference.
Sadly.
Your Oloyede man came out in tears, in total remorse, apologized, owned up, identified the polling units, ordered a retake, and to ameliorate the situation.
I think that is
wonderful, very honorable. Compare that with Professor Yakubu, who owned up there was a technical glitch, who refused to identify the polling units affected and refused to conduct a rerun, and shamelessly came and declared the results from the sky and told people to go to court. They reminded Oloyede the jam register. People petitioned. He listened to them, investigated it, and said they were correct. People petitioned Yakubu, the opposition. On that day, he was declaring that result. And they played back his own tape, audio tape. He listened to it, yet he continued and told them to go to court. That's the difference between being honorable and being dishonorable. Nobody should give 1 naira again to that Yakubu until he retires. He's looking for retirement benefit. It's the worst thing that has ever happened to Nigeria in terms of electoral jurisprudence and electoral process. Now, coming to Tinubu's own issue, let's talk about the basic things about before government, proceed, which is the security and welfare of the people.
Just a minute, Ken. Just for purposes of fair comments, Professor Yakubu, we are open to your right of reply. This is the view of Kenneth Okonkwo, to which is entitled.
Absolutely.
If you or any of your aides also want to give a counter, this forum is very open. Please go on to the details now.
Thank you very much. I said what I said unapologetically because Oloyede acknowledged technical glitch. Use the same word.
Just move on. Yeah.
Very good. Now, just take the issue of security and welfare, which the Constitution said is the primary duty of government. Tinubu's government has worsened the security of this nation. Please don't take my words for it. Take the words of Governor Zulum. He said Boko Haram is resurging in the northeast because they have taken away the resources, military resources, meant to fight Boko Haram to the northwest. And now, within 24 hours, within 48 hours, more than 10 of our well-trained soldiers humiliated, killed, after he has warned. So this is a government of the deaf and the dumb. A governor told you, look at what is happening. We need urgent response. None was given. Today, Boko Haram Iswa, the re-insurgency is manifesting in the northeast. Failure for him. Let's come to North Central. You saw what is happening in Plateau State. They killed the first 50-something persons. The governor of Plateau screamed. What did this government do? Nothing. Within 24 hours, 48 hours, they killed more people, going to 100. And you know what the media aide of the president said? Plateau governor, go and mind your business. Go and take care of your people. You're not implementing shifting responsibility. The president was in Paris when those things were happening. He couldn't cut his visit short. This is Plateau. And the governor in tears was telling his people that they would see what they would do. Whatever happened to the state police? When this president was a governor, all his successors were most vociferous on the issue of state police. And I mentioned Fashola, who has been saying it repeatedly, that you cannot give somebody responsibility without giving him authority to perform. These are his proteges. And I told them that tyrants don't always like to devolve power. That now that he's president, a man that can make the National Assembly to do the impossible within hours, can no longer make them to amend the Constitution to give us state police.
Do you think that is...
It is because he doesn't want it. As simple as that. Now...
Because he has said that it's going to be done.
What are you... Is it when he wants to leave or in his second term?
And NEC is...
It's going to be done. We're just saying 2 years. 50% of it. How many days did it take him to change the national anthem? How many days did it take him to change the tax reforms?
Well, that took
they begged him to even slow down in the tax reform. What did he say? He said, no, I don't want to listen. It will go on in the National Assembly. Who told you that if you wanted state police, you wouldn't have gotten it within 2 weeks?
Okay. Your point is well made.
When Yaradua took ill and it nearly collapsed Nigeria, they amended the Constitution within a month. Section 145, if I can remember. It takes will. Because he does not like that. That is why it is not done. People are dying for nothing. Because Nigerians know the solution. Let's move to Benue State. Still in the North Central. In Benue State, Even a reverend father's prayer could not help him anymore, because faith without work is dead, being alone. His people are being massacred. And these places are the food basket of Nigeria, for you to know why we are becoming a basket case. When a government cannot protect the food areas of Nigeria, hunger and poverty ensue. And they are pretending they are working. Working what? In Benue, they kill people to the point that the Reverend Father came out and said the federal government should up their game. That is an euphemism of failure. How many people will still need to die before they do something? Let's go to the northwest. Lakurawa, however it's called. An insurgent group that came in the disguise that they are protecting the people. And the people wholeheartedly submitted to them. You know why? Because of some spaces that are not just ungoverned, but ungovernable. And the people submitted only to discover that they are foreign terrorists. Do you talk about Niger? Good. The same thing. You saw how the governor of Niger State even descended to cutting the hair of Dada people. Do we go to the southeast, south,
But
southwest?
the government cutting the head of dreadlocks, that's not the president's
No,
problem.
it's frustration. No, the president is the one who is in charge of the security and welfare. He has the monopoly of the forces, has refused to cede the power to the state government by allowing them to have state police and giving them the commensurate arms to take on the insurgents that have superior power arms. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe said it's only a madman that goes to confront a man with a gun. You must be insane.
I wanted to take up, two issues. The first one is the issue of state police. And I see your point that when the president was going to change the anthem, it was quite and then of course the issue of the tax reform.
Yes, they pleaded with him.
Now the issue of the anthem is not as complicated as state police, but the issue of tax reform is quite something that is showed very clearly that this was the direction it is going. I think and this is my own view too. I think that if you look at what he has represented, and that is what I am sticking by. He has been an advocate of state police. So I still believe, and I will be utterly disappointed if the 4 years is gone and we don't have state police. That's my counter on that. And then on the issue of
so my question to you on that is, why 4 years?
Why should we take 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't disagree with the facts. Look, the facts are the facts.
Because it's 2 years.
Yeah, there's no point about there's no point denying whatever the fact is.
Almost all the 36 governors, let's say 35, have agreed to state police.
So I don't think that he is blocking the state police. I think
he is
that
blocking
the
state police.
I think that you are right that he's not as proactive as he was when he pushed the issue of tax reform. For instance,
blocking.
But it doesn't necessarily mean he's blocking.
In criminal offense, I come as a lawyer.
Okay.
A crime is commission or omission.
Okay.
The same weight.
Okay, but then the limit.
You have there is a crime of omission.
Let me respond. The difference there, as a student of logic, I'm not a lawyer, but as a student of logic, is that the crime has been done and the time has elapsed. In this case, there is still 2 years. I don't deny the fact, but there is still 2 years. So you see,
if people are dying at this rate, and they're saying because we don't have enough men, we don't have enough boots on the ground, and you'd have to wait for another 2 years to allow 300 persons. 300 persons have died in Plateau State. Don't let's
debate.
I agree with you.
Facts.
I just want you to know that he's blocking it.
Yeah, so
by omission.
That's your
commission.
That's your view. I agree that indeed, yes, you are right to say that. Look, when he wanted the tax reform, he was very,
four different complex
very strong about it. He made the point that look, these guys don't know what they are saying, and I even commended him for that. Now he hasn't done that for state police. But I think it's a hashtag. Let's move on. Let's Kenneth.
Yes. Now, and you were saying something about his threats, as in when he wants something.
Yeah.
Good. I listened to the khaki wearing politician who used to say he's fighting for the people, but who is now a bourgeois in your studio. I'm talking about Adam Salih Oshomole. And when he was talking about Tinubu, he said Tinubu is the only person that has not decamped from one party to the other, trying to create the deceit of consistency. Because we're talking about going into 2 years. The most inconsistent politician in Nigeria that has no ideology, no policy, no principle is His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I take it from 1999. I always say, don't take my words for it. We're talking about coalition. We're talking about this.
Yes.
And then somebody wants to give him as an example as a person that has been consistent in being in opposition. White lie. In 1999, Tinubu was elected as a governor under AD. And his state is the most prominent state in Southwest.
Right.
The same 1999, AD went into coalition with APP and produced Olufalaye, and they voted Olufalaye under APP. Coalition.
That was in
1999. They did not even wait the next year. In 2003,
right.
Tinubu, as an AD governor,
Right.
they went into coalition with PDP, the same PDP, and they voted for Olusegun Obasanjo. Tinubu particularly showed his ballot paper and showed how he voted for Olusegun Obasanjo. They dumped Olufalaye. In 2000 and...
Did Olufalaye run in 2003?
Yes. No, he did not run. They packed him up.
Yeah. So you can't say you dumped him in 2003 because he didn't run in 2003.
That's Eddie.
No, he didn't run in 2003.
He did not run now. That's why they dumped him. They endorsed Olusegun Obasanjo to be their sole.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
Of another party.
You didn't know that Olufalaye wanted to run in 2003.
Whatever it is, he did not run.
So you didn't know. So that's
what I'm saying. Okay, because he ran for them in 1999.
Right.
In 2003, Obasanjo, that is his arch political, you call it rival, call it opponent in the Southwest. He aligned with him and personally voted for him. Coalition with PDP. In 2007, and that is where Oshomole told a white lie. Tinubu had already fallen out with AD and their leadership at Afenifere. He dumped them. He formed AC. And as a sitting governor of AD, decamped to AC because AD was still there.
No, but AD collapsed into AC, Kenneth.
No, they did not collapse. AD as a political party was still existing. He destroyed AD so that he will now no longer be under the leadership of AD, which is controlled and was controlled by Afenifere. So he formed a new party, AC. Remember, he ran under AD in 2003. In 2007, he wanted to run with Atiku Abubakar. The same Tinubu endorsed Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar was the presidential candidate of AC 2007. He wanted to be the vice presidential candidate. Atiku refused because of the Muslim ticket. So he decamped from AD into AC. Clearly, in 2011, he supported Goodluck Jonathan of PDP. Patient Jonathan just confirmed it by thanking them for throwing their support to the husband and herself. 2011.
Right.
In 2015, not because he loved Jonathan, but because Buhari did not agree with his terms. And that was why the coalition collapsed in 2011. In 2015, Buhari was willing to agree and concede to him. And he supported Buhari. This is a man that has never supported two presidential candidates in two elections from 1999 to 2015. 5 electoral cycles. And you're telling me about consistency?
Okay, all right. So let's just take it forward. I'll make a comment on my own perspective, and then we move to something else that I wanted to talk about. Now, and I'm going to start with North Central. And then I'll build it up. Now, I personally think that what is happening in North Central, which is not new, is cumulative, is quite, for me, I find it very, very alarming. It's a very troubling situation. And I think that as a people, I think we have even lost our humanity up to a point, because those deaths, those callous attacks no longer infuriate us as it ought to be. Yes. Which is why, I have tried on this program to humanize the story, to talk about, actually read out the names of the people. And I found the statement of the governor of Plateau State, Kenneth Okonkwo. I find it quite courageous to say that this is a genocide that is going on. Very, very forthright. Now, but I am willing to concede that, yes, Tinubu is well in charge, but this problem started long ago. I wish that he has the courage to deal with it, because what I think has happened is that we've not been blessed with courageous leadership who understand that the reason why you have power is to help the people to transform situation. Again, I'm still holding that hope. Now, the other issue I wanted to talk,
okay.
Well, no, you've made your point now.
Okay, no, I wanted to point out
okay, please go ahead.
I respectfully disagree with you that as a people,
right,
we have lost our humanity. Nigerians are the most, as a matter of fact, Nigerians are the most.
I don't mean it in a bracket sense.
That's what I'm saying, because when you say it, it will appear as if we are now condoning or trying to contain. No, we are helpless in the front of incompetent leaders. Look at you. You're a journalist. You're not a soldier. So the best you can do is to be crying. And you're crying. What else will you do? Somebody begged, according to him, danced, and told you he has what it takes to stop it, and was given the chance, and it has exacerbated. So it is not a case of the people. The people are wailing and crying. It's a case of leadership.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you talked about courage.
When I'm talking about, we will get back to that. When I was talking about the fact that we are losing humanity, it's more about the political elites.
Yeah, the leadership.
Yeah, please go ahead. We're talking about
now.
You said I was talking about courage.
You said we have not had men that have courage. I agree. The only thing the politicians in power in Nigeria do, unfortunately, is that they like to afflict the people with the pathogen of fear. They like to afflict them with the virus and bacteria of fear. But we will inoculate them with the vaccine of courage. Because courage shall of necessity be more contagious than fear. If they don't want to show courage to solve our problem, we should show courage to take them out.
And that's the point. That's
not up to 5,000 persons, embarrassing 200 million persons.
I sat under Buhari Oshibajo, and it didn't happen the way we hope, which is why I'm here to say that, look, we need to give Nigerians the information that they need. We need to be able to talk about these things objectively and realistically. We need to engage and contest issues, which is what we are doing today. So now, let's move on to your perspective about the president's not defecting, which Comrade said. I also believe, I don't agree with you that that the AD was still. What happened was that AD dissolved. Into AC. And okay, all right.
So AD existed.
No, it certainly existed.
Many years, good. So it did not dissolve.
No. The people, the main protagonists of AD dissolved into AC.
Who took them there?
Into AC. Well, it's leadership. Don't forget that.
What I'm saying. You say it's not decamping.
No, that's not decamping.
What is it?
It's the same people that formed Alliance for Democracy, essentially, that moved.
Why did they not substantiate? Why did they not build AD?
Well, look. So we can study those details.
That's decampment.
Let me explain. You've made your point, Ken. Just let me explain. So, what happened in 2003 was that there was supposed to be some kind of understanding, between AD governors in the Southwest and the president, then Obasanjo, and like you said, and the perspective, the mainstream perspective, Ken, is that Obasanjo, outplayed 5 of them except Tinubu, who was able to say, look, we will not oppose you for presidency, but we are holding our ground. That was the agreement, but it turns out that Obasanjo managed to outwit the 5 others, Oshoba in Ogun, what's his name, Lamadeshino in Oyo, Akonde in Osun, Niyi in Ekiti. There's one more state that we are missing.
I think you've called
Lagos, Oyo, Ondo. I think it's a different. I forgot the name of the governor in Ogun State. In Ondo State. Yeah. So that was the seat. Now, so all of them were outwitted, outplayed, outgunned by Obasanjo, except Tinubu.
Yes.
So that was how ACN. So AD was crushed in that defeat. So those leaders, including Oshoba, and most of these other governors, moved and said that, look, we are starting ACN, and AC first. So essentially, Tinubu did not leave his people. Whatever name you call it, he kept with his people. Now,
which people?
Of the Southwest.
The mainstream.
The mainstream. Yes. The mainstream of the politics. Afenifere is not a political organization.
No, that's what I'm saying. Afenifere was the leader, political leader that formed AD. Afenifere is under Abraham Adesonya.
Yes.
He was the one.
And that AD. Yes. I don't want us to get stuck.
No.
And that AD lost the election in 2003. So the leaders of the Southwest, the political leaders of the Southwest, felt it was time to have to change to metamorphosize into AC. That's where I read it.
Okay. No.
But we don't have to. So and since then, I will give a lot of things that I too am not satisfied with this administration. There's no doubt about that, and I've said it publicly. But I will still give Tinubu the credit that he stuck with his people, formed AC, and stood there. Look, even when the APC won the election in 2015. They still marginalized Tinubu, and he did not leave. So these are different. No, but I know they just marginalized.
I understand what you're saying.
And the reason I know this point,
exactly.
And the reason I know this point is not to.
I don't agree with you.
Absolutely, but it's to just show that look, these are issues of perspectives.
Yes.
So I will still say that somebody like him has a fairer record of sticking with his gun than many of the other political leaders. But hey, we disagree on that.
No. Certainly, there's only one thing he's consistent about. And that his merciless quest for power and money.
Okay, all right. Let's move on.
And if you want me to give you facts,
I'll give you facts. No. I think
because he put Fashola in power.
Okay.
They had problems. Fashola was the first person that started modernizing Lagos. The issue was money.
No. Well, look, let's go into
Good. Ambode was there. I was in APC. But that's the only thing
because the people of his own EU will say that he set up the master plan. Let's even waste time because there are other things to talk about. Okay,
he's now president.
Yeah.
All the people that went with him into APC from Southwest, most of them are not there. Lai Mohammed, Babafemi, Aregbesola. So let's talk. So when you say,
of course, that is
Oshibanjo.
Yeah, that is another story.
Good.
That's another story.
So I'm just
my
trying
whole
to let you know.
That's another story. My whole point is that
because you said you've been carrying
when you
along.
No, I didn't say that.
No,
I didn't say. I said that was the formula. I'm talking about how AD metamorphosed into AC. That's what I said. That's why it's not the campaign.
Metamorphosis is that. Okay,
that was what happened.
No, let me
tell me. Who are the people in AD when AC was from? Tell me.
Hold on.
Give me those people that
remained in AD.
Adebanjo is not a politician.
Hold on.
Adebanjo was a politician of the Second Republic.
In charge of the AD. They were still having meetings.
Yes, Afenifere is a socio-political.
I will tell you what.
It's not a political party.
I will tell you what Muffin is. I'll tell you what. No, I'll give you an example of what Muffin is.
Okay.
AC morphed into ACN. ACN morphed into APC.
No, those were mergers.
Good.
Those were mergers. They're different.
Good. AD. This argument is not necessary. It's not because of the point. I think we have both made our point. Let's go to other things that I want us to talk about. So we've talked about the North Central. I've responded on the issue of Tinubu's presidency. Now let's talk about the point I wanted to make about North Central. Yeah, is that we don't seem to understand that when you have a governor, and this is important for the federal government because they control security. When you have a governor call a situation a genocide, that is an official indictment. It is close to it. It is not, right, lawyer? It is not a prima facie, but it's close to it. Yes.
When you have a governor, and this thing has international implications. The International Criminal Court is there because a genocide is a crime against humanity. So a governor of a state has come out to say this is genocide. I think that they better take the matter seriously. Because this issue can be internationalized and there will be basis. There will be basis because the system, as it is currently being our system, is not working. It's not delivering justice to the people of North Central Nigeria.
Sorry again to say I disagree with you a bit.
Okay.
You said this issue can be internationalized.
Yes.
And I'm already saying it's already internationalized.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that it can even go to the ICC. That's
sure. Why do you think that America is putting Nigeria now closer to people that are terrorizing Christians officially? It is because of such things. And then coupled with the terrible mistake that Tinubu did by picking a fellow Muslim, creating the impression, perception is very funny.
Right.
Any nation that is blessed with diversity, they do not understand the power they wield. America became one of the most powerful nations on earth because of harnessing their diversity.
True.
If they want to take on any country, they will have people from that country that they have as citizens who enjoy free and equal everything in the eyes of the law. You can imagine if Nigeria can harness their diversity. We have access to Christian nations by our diversity. We have access to Muslim nations. We have access to black, whites, everything. And now you see this country because of leadership of people like Tinubu, who is antithetical to everything, our diversity. And any nation that rejects such spirit of diversity will continue to go down. If Tinubu rules Nigeria for 30 years, and I am quoting Douala, he cannot afford anything new. According to what I said, don't take my words for it.
Kenneth, I must interject that,
go ahead. He said even if you give him 30 years, is it not happening?
I mean, this is just a side that we should treat quickly. I don't understand the logic of bringing a Douala. Since you read it, I don't understand the logic of making a Douala a spokesperson. If you wanted to neutralize him, based on all the things that he has said about the president, it reflects badly on both of them, both himself and the president. Now, if the president wants to neutralize him, which is what I think he's doing, or if he wants to settle him, go and put him somewhere, but to bring a Douala, and it reflects badly, poorly on the character of Douala.
Now,
and you see how Douala has had to fight. There was even a time he went on TV and he was looking for water.
Yes. I mean,
his throat was dry. But that's his side.
Exactly. The only reason he was taken was to deny the opposition of Douala.
I
remember that.
I think I agree.
Immediately he was taken. Douala wanted to say, I'm the spokesman, but I said, shut up. You are not.
Yeah.
Can you imagine bringing a lawyer and saying he's a policy analyst? No, what policies analyze?
Let's move on.
Economics or what?
Ken, I want us to also talk about the state governors. You know, and I will explain, and then you can also make your own comment. Now, let me restate my view. I also have issues with this government. No doubt about it. But I'm holding out hope. That's the difference between you and me.
Yes, I'm already hopeless.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, I'm holding out hope because something tells me that with all these things that this man was the one, he was the leader of progressive politics. So I'm going to give him his 4 years. All right. So I will say that state governors are in charge, Ken, of education. They're in charge of health. They can make things happen in agric. They can provide human capital development. They can even ensure that the productivity of agriculture in their states can actually bring some kind of succor to their people. This was what happened during regional governments. You know, I mean, I grew up in the West, so I can talk about how you know, as regional, you know, premier, you know, was able to do free education, free health, and even in the Second Republic, UPN did free health and free education. These were state policies. UPN was not in the federal government. How much responsibility are you willing to concede that the governors have in what it is that is the fate of the country today, Ken?
Very good. First and foremost, you talked about agriculture.
Yeah.
How can somebody go to the farm? When he goes to the farm, he will be killed. It happened in Enugu, my state. It happened in Benue. It happened in Plateau. It happened in everywhere in Nigeria. In Edo, you recall that those 16 people were killed because of apprehension that the natives have been killed consistently.
Yeah.
So how do you go to agriculture when your life is sorted out? That's why I'm saying, why don't you give these people state police so that I will have a reason to blame them?
But aren't you giving the governors?
Let me comment.
Okay.
I just talked about agriculture.
Yeah.
Because when you give somebody leeway to escape whatever you say, you can blame him. Now, let's talk about, because they say when the fish starts getting rotten from the head, there is nothing you can do to the body. You must rot away. You talked about Awo. Awo ran through federalism. The resources of the Southwest was in his hand. And he paid tax to the federal government. 50% of it. Give the same thing to these governors. I will be the first to blame them. How do you blame them? They come cap in hand to Abuja. And whatever you give them, at whatever time you give them, that's what they will operate on.
But you can raise money from the states, Ken.
Good. You know one thing? I am telling you the major things you mentioned.
Yeah.
Am I exonerating the governors completely? No. But when you now have a governor a president that can remove a governor for no reason.
It's absolutely unacceptable. I don't accept that too.
Very good. So if this president now, that's why I say they're afflicting people with the pathogen of fear, with the disease of fear. Whatever they tell these governors now to do, why are they defecting? For the same reason, fear. So I cannot heap blames on the governor, even though they share some. But you can only blame them as much as you want to blame them. But when you come to facts, you will see that they will defeat you on those facts. Fear is amongst them. People can go to the farm. Can you imagine the governor of Plateau State? He guaranteed his people, after that first attack, that they were going to do something. Within 48 hours, almost 100 persons were killed again.
Yeah.
So, if the governor now tells you, go, you will be safe. Would you trust his words? In Enugu, sit at home, or let me say Southeast. At the initial stage, people wanted to say, go to hell. How can we feed our family? Until their cars are being burnt, until they are being killed. So when you tell people to, no, come out, and they come out and they are killed, do you think they will obey your order? So the issue here is this. As far as security is concerned, the federal government alone cannot handle it.
Absolutely.
Cede this power to the state.
But Ken, I must tell you.
Good.
I must tell you that
So,
in the last...
I know where you're coming from, but then they are completely...
Okay, all right, good.
They don't have power over their own resources.
Yeah, good point, Ken. And I don't disagree. Like I said, there's no point disagreeing with the reality. In the last National Economic Council meeting, the issue of state police was on the agenda.
Yes.
But they skipped it. The governors are the 30, there are probably about 40 members of NEC. The governors are 36. And they are not insisting on the urgency of state police. I agree with you already that it seems that the president is not pushing as much force as he pushed behind the issue of tax reform, behind state police, because when he saw that, he said, this is where I'm going, But what about the governors? How are they not? Why are they not? Yes. Why shouldn't the governors be banging the table at every opportunity that we need state police and we need it now? Why not?
If you ask me, I would say they are doing that. Just last week,
I just told you that
the whole Northern governors, with the whole traditional leaders, they were all shouting state police.
But they were in the NEC meeting.
No.
And they allowed the thing to be skipped.
When you say NEC, that's an advisory organ.
Yes.
Good. They have their different forums, governors' forums. And they are banging on it repeatedly. There may have been a reason. In the neck, that same neck, they have said it before.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they've not said it at all.
Yeah, and the reason why
So when you're banging
that,
something, is it not only to the deaf that you bang something? No, you are saying something repeatedly, it is not being done. Okay, can you imagine when Tinubu was a governor, when Fashola was a governor, there was no unanimity amongst the governors on state police as at that time. Now that there is unanimity, you're still you're telling them, go and bring your report, go and bring your summary, go and bring. That's what the federal government is telling the governors. Your Makinde came out and like, what do you mean? Go and bring summary or what? He said it publicly. So when you want to put roadblocks, you are putting roadblocks, and you have to agree that you're putting roadblocks.
Absolutely, Ken. This is one area
the federal government does not need to even consult the governors, except for the sake of consultation, so that they will support.
I agree, and this is one area where the federal government, and I'm speaking specifically about the president now. If the president finishes these 4 years and we don't have a state police, it will be so. I don't want to use it to be so shameful especially.
You may say let's give him 8 years. You may say let's give him 8 years.
No, I mean we're not at that point yet.
I don't have 2 years to give.
I'm just saying that. Look, so if somebody wants to make a dramatic change, 2 years is enough. That's my argument, and I'm hoping. That's why I'm holding out hope. I don't disagree with the reality of what has happened in our country, Ken. I don't disagree, but I'm just saying that. Okay, look. This is your trajectory, and some of us are still hoping. That's what I'm saying. But
I agree with you. If this president had shown in other things that he was doing, and in his dealing with National Assembly, that he takes his time, I would have said, even let me give him benefit of that. But in all other things he wanted in National Assembly, he got all within the time he wanted it.
Good point. Because of our time, one last question that I'd like you to also talk about. As part of the constitutional amendment stuff, the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives put up a bill for rotational presidency.
Yes.
He's the deputy speaker. He put up a bill, but a few days ago the thing was knocked and they couldn't even get a second reading. Yeah. Now, my view is that I think we need to have rotational presidency in the constitution for the reason of this nation idea is still an idea.
Yes.
We need to have a situation where we can let everybody have a sense of belonging. To a reasonable extent, the main political parties have even subscribed to the idea of rotational presidency informally. So defeating it on the floor of the House for the amendment, I think is a setback. What do you say? Last word as we conclude.
Good. Let me first of all admit that I also subscribe to the issue of rotational presidency. But you see, I do not think it's practicable to have rotational presidency under a 2-term of the government.
Okay.
So we're going to have a problem.
So it should be
1 term
of 6 years.
6 years. And it should rotate between North and South.
Yeah.
Not within the 6 geopolitical zones.
Okay.
From the Southeast, we have suffered injustice as a result of geopolitical zones.
Yes.
But it is because of our lack of strategy. When it comes to South, we are a majority tribe and we should be able to strategize. Making it rotate within 6 zones, no, is unworldly.
Okay.
Because saying that a man in a generation will have only one chance to be president is unworldly. Because if you make it 6 years and say it will go round 6 zones before it comes to another zone, what if the person we have in that section is the most qualified in a particular place?
Yeah.
Then will you now go to start begging people to present themselves to become president? That's what is going to happen if you say 6 geopolitical zones.
Right. Because
you will now be limited to Southwest. And remember, you have political parties. Then if people are not interested, time will come when people will not be as interested in politics as they are today.
Right.
When all the professions in Nigeria starts blossoming.
Right.
Now, so I support the issue of rotational, but I support them saying no, it can't go around the 6 geopolitical zones.
Should be
good. So you have to amend the constitution for 1 term.
Okay.
That's the only way.
6 years.
Yes, because if you don't do that, if a president becomes so incomparably bad like Tinubu and then does only 1 term, are you now going to say no, he must finish the second term before? So it has to be 1 term. One thing again I want to talk before we end is to say that the failure of this government did not stop within the national boundaries. It also went into the international boundaries. For the first time since the formation of ECOWAS is split. Simply because of the incompetence of this government in handling change of power in other countries. In Buhari's regime, there were some unconstitutional change of power.
Right.
And they handled it so efficiently well. When there was a change of power in Niger Republic, the first thing this government said is that it was going to take them out within 7 days if they don't run out. In diplomacy, you carry a big cane, but you go with soft words.
Thank you so much.